Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So, Aetherdrift spoiler season is well in the books at this point, and the prices on the brand new cards, well, they are finally starting to stabilize a bit, so now we can get a sea of, well, what's gonna be expensive? What's gonna be well outside of my budget? First up, we've got one of the gods. Of course the gods were going to be expensive. Well, at least two of them. Anyway, Sab-Sunen Luxa Embody. This is apparently the cheapest version of it right now, and it's right around $10.50 or so. A 6/6 god for 5 mana and Simic, reach, trample, indestructible. Can't attack or block unless it has an even number of counters on it. Beginning of your main phase, first main phase I should say, get a counter on it. Then if it has an odd number of counters on it, draw 2 cards. So of course, as a card in the 99, yeah, you could just throw this into God Tribal and it's going to be pretty impactful. Can also go into a counters build as well because, yeah, of course, you've got plenty of ways to manipulate counters on it. Proliferate build too, essentially, yeah, and it can be a decent draw engine for you as well, on top of it being a very, tough to deal with creature. Again, indestructible, and also a good blocker, good attacker, good a lot of things. So yeah, it is a card, of course, the 99. Also as a commander, it can be, maybe one of the more popular ones from the set too, or again, build around counters, build around proliferate, get a lot of card draw. There's a reason why this god is finishing right now in the top 10 at 10th place at around, again, $10.50 or so. Moving on to 9th place, though, we've got Yanling Wind Rider at $10.77, just barely edging out Sab-Sunen. A 2/4 human wizard pilot for 4 mana in blue. When it enters, create a 3/2 colorless vehicle artifact token with crew 1. Vehicles you control have flying. Whenever one or more creatures you control have flying, deal combination to a player, draw a card. Again, of course, as a commander, this can be a very solid commander. Again, you can go vehicles, you can go flyers, you can go a combination of both. But I think the main thing here is, and what really is driving this price outside of it being, well, a mythic in the set and obviously having lower supply, is that, again, it is yet another coastal piracy type effect again. One or more of your creatures you control, a flying, deal combination player, draw a card. It is specific to flyers, but here's the thing. There are plenty of flyer decks out there. There are plenty of commanders out there that make flying tokens. I mean, like a Tolran style commander. Anyone? And of course, many of those can be quite popular. And with that, well, yeah, this is a solid draw engine for you for those builds. So again, even if it's not going to be the most popular commander out there, essentially, from this set, it is a card that can already see waves, make waves, be a big play in those types of decks out there, those flying decks out there, or vehicle decks too. So that's why it's coming in at 9th place, again, $10.77. Next up, the Speed Demon. Again, just barely getting into 8th place at right around $11 or so. 5/5 Demon Flample for 5 mana. That'd be flying and trample for those who don't know. Start your engines. At the beginning of your end step, you draw X cards, lose X life, or X is your max speed. So this is a type of, again, mechanic, start your engines, which can be a bit parasitic, where you kind of have to shove in every single start your engines card into the deck around it. Not quite for this one. Again, you don't have to get to that max speed. Getting the max speed is great, but you still get value when you're not at max speed. You're still getting basically a Phyrexian Arena type effect. So for decks that do want to draw quite a bit, yeah, you can just throw this in there. It's a solid demon. Again, 5/5 flying trample, obviously demon tribal. Of course, as a commander as well, it's a very solid option too. And there you can build into more of these start your engines cards. I'd probably build more so just the ones that make sense in there, like some of the lands, etc. But yeah, being able to really take advantage of all that draw, take advantage of all of that value, and sure, take advantage of even the life loss, so maybe a life swap strategy you can consider it too. So yeah, it's a very solid card. Again, yet another mythic that is well sought after from this set. Around $11 right now, again, 8th place. Next up, moving on to 7th place, we've got Monument to Endurance, just barely 3 cents more than the Speed Demon, $11. And this one, again, our first rare that we were seeing, not a mythic rare, but a rare, and the price tag is definitely going to be up there and stay up there in my opinion. Artifact for 3, when you discard a card, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. draw a card, create a treasure token, each opponent loses 3 life. There's a lot of different kinds of decks out there that will want this type of a card. First of all, wheel decks. Yeah, if you're using any kind of a wheel that forces you to discard, congratulations, you get all 3 of those things. I mean, the vast majority of the time you're discarding 3 or more cards, right? So, cool. Wheel, get an extra card draw. Lovely. Get a treasure token. Cool, I get a mana back. Awesome. Each opponent loses 3 life. Why not? So, obviously, wheel decks can utilize this. Looting kind of decks, rummaging type decks, or just discard decks in general. Cycling decks too, there's a lot of different types of strategies out there that can really take advantage of discarding cards and now getting a lot of value out of this. Again, replacing a mana with that treasure, lovely, or just building that stash up. Getting extra cards, again, if you're looting or rummaging, now you're actually getting card advantage instead of just card selection. And draining opponents, who doesn't want to drain opponents too? So there you go. Again, Monument to Endurance, a card that's price will endure in my opinion. 7th place, right around $11. Next up, though, yet another rare making it up into this 6th place right now, $12.62. Oviya Automech Artisan, and this is apparently the cheapest version of it. Again, the other version's a little bit more expensive than that even. 1/2 Human Artificer, 4 mana in green. Each creature attacking one or more of your opponents has trample. By paying a green mana, you tap and put a creature or vehicle card from your hand on the battlefield. If you put an artifact on the battlefield this way, put 2 counters on it. This is essentially Elvish Piper, but now it can be your commander, essentially. I mean, yes, it does do other things too, right? You can cheat to play vehicles. Cool. You also can give any creature attacking your opponent's trample. That's very nice. Obviously, it helps you. It also kind of helps politic a little bit for letting your opponents be like, hey, you know what? You should swing at those other players. You can trample through. Good for you. Good. That being said, there's not really a lot of politicking going on when you just drop a giant creature from your hand on the battlefield and you're like trying to convince your opponents that you're not the threat when you are the threat. Yeah, this is obviously going to be a pretty popular commander, one that can do some really cool things. Again, just like cheating to play whenever you want a creature for 1 mana, use untap abilities and utilize it again and again and again. Regardless if you have like Elvish Piper in a deck that's not just straight up Elf Tribal, yeah, definitely consider this one for that exact same role because it does basically the exact same thing, but even better. So yeah, this is the type of commander, type of card in 99 that can make a massive impact. $12.62, making an impact on your wallet as well. 6th place. Moving on, we've got Vnwxt, if that's how you say that. Verbose Host at 5th place, $17.93. I should have seen this coming, but I didn't see this coming. This rare is expensive. 0/4 Homunculus for 4 mana. For 4 mana? 2 mana. It's a 4 toughness. There we go. 2 mana in blue. Yeah, you think it might have to cost 4 mana for what this does for you. Search your engines. Again, a parasitic type mechanic-ish, but yeah, if it's your commander, it costs 2, so you're getting it down to play early, so you don't really have to worry about just chucking into your deck every single terrible card that says start your engines on it. A land, sure. No, you have maximum hand size, max speed. If you draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. Okay, so I guess I probably should have seen this coming a bit more than I did, because there are so many cards out there that wouldn't see a lot of play, except they have just stamped on them, you have maximum hand size, and because of that, they see a lot more play than they would. I mean, just think about some of the mana rocks out there, Thought Vessel, that compared to like other mana rocks that do the exact same thing, but they have no maximum hand size on that one, so it sees a ton of play. Having no maximum hand size is amazing, especially in a format like Commander where you're incentivized to play a longer game and draw a ton of cards, and this one does that for you, and of course it doubles up your draw. It does take a little bit of time to get to that max speed, but once you do, my goodness, you can do some absolutely crazy things. So, of course, as a commander, you can really take advantage of this, or just as a card in the 99 of a deck, if you are building around, again, any kind of card draw, and you want to hold on to your hand, great, cool, you've got an extra option to do so. And then once you hit that max speed, you go into overdrive and you just decimate your opponents with the amount of value that you have. Again, you cast like a brainstorm, now you're drawing 6 instead of 3, going up an absurd amount. So just a small example for that. But yeah, any other card draw too, absolutely crazy. So yeah, as card 99, as a card, as a commander, it is very impactful. And I should not have doubted that its price would be reflecting that. Next up, moving on to 4th place, we've got Loot the Pathfinder. Oh my goodness, nearly $20, $19.75. I definitely didn't see this one coming, as I thought that the distaste for Loot as a character would drive that price down just a little bit, but I was wrong. 2/4 Beast Noble for 5 mana and Teamer again. Mythic, Double Strike, Vigilance, Haste, Exhaust it for 3 different ways. Pay a single green mana, tap at 3 mana in 1 color. Pay a blue mana, tap, draw 3 cards. Pay a red mana, tap 3 damage to any target. Again, exhaust means that you can activate each exhaust ability only once. That being said, if it is your commander, you most definitely have ways to get around that, because if you blink it and it comes back, well, then it's considered a different card, and then it resets those exhaust abilities. Or again, if you have it in a blink deck, or if you bounce it back to your hand and replay it, or replay it for the command zone. As a commander, yeah, you've got plenty of ways to build around that. You have plenty of ways to get value out of this. Again, it can be a good ramp source for you. It can be a great card draw engine for you. And it can be a, sure, repeatable lightning bolt as well. So it's kind of like a toolbox commander-ish that also has double strike, vigilance, and haste. So that's quite nice. That being said, yeah, it's a card in the 99. Yeah, if you've got a blink deck, you can use and abuse this ability quite a bit. And because it has haste, it's kind of like Arcanus the Omnipotent with haste, a little bit of cost in there too, but hey, really take advantage of that card drawing a lot, and of course the mana as well. It is definitely an interesting card, though again, the character, the distaste for it apparently did not drive that price down at all. $19.75 for 4th place. Okay, moving on to 3rd place. Not surprising at all. Sorry, Hazard. Again, I said that there's 2 gods in the top 10, and spoiler alert, you're not one of them. Ketramose the New Dawn, a 4/4 god with Menace, Lifelink, and Indestructible. I tried to combine 2 of those. It didn't work out. For 3 mana and Orzhov. Can't attack or block unless there are 7 more cards in exile. Whenever 1 or more cards are put in exile from graveyards and/or the battlefield during your turn, you draw a card, and you lose 1 life. So this is apparently the cheapest version of it. I really think it's really cool art. It's awesome. But yeah, it's like a $25 card even at the cheapest because, well, this is the type of card that kind of breaks the mold. It goes about things in a different, new, and unique way. Of course, God Tribal can just be like, yep, let's just throw that in there. We'll do some things. Why not? But when it comes to it being a commander, my goodness, so much value to be had there. You can build the entire deck around just miscellaneously getting things out of graveyards one at a time, getting so much value with that. And of course, blinking as well. And there's some very easy infinite blink shenanigans that you can really take advantage of. You need to build in some ways to make sure you don't just lose with all that life loss. That being said, yeah, this is a card that is a very cool, unique commander. It's definitely going to see build around. It is a mythic, so that's going to drive up the price. And obviously, well, Blink is a very, 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 very popular deck archetype. And because of that, you throw this in the deck and you're like, cool, a lot of free value, a lot of free card draw, sure at the cost of life, but who cares? So yeah, not surprised to see this one all the way up there at 3rd place. Again, right around $25. Next up, though, at 2nd place, I am actually surprised to see Radiant Lotus here because, to be honest, I expected to see it in 1st. I'm so sorry, Radiant Lotus, but $35, I thought the price would be around there, ish. I was like, $30 to $40 or whatever. It's never going to be budget-friendly for me. That being said, artifact for 6, that is a mythic. Tap, sacrifice 1 or more artifacts, choose a color. Target player adds 3 mana to the chosen color for each artifact sacrifice this way. That is absurd. That is disgusting. That is worthy of the mythic name. Yeah, this is just basically, again, no holds barred when it comes to how they designed it. It could have been like, sacrifice this and other artifacts, and maybe sacrifice this and other non-token artifacts. That would have limited it a little bit. But they literally didn't limit. They didn't even limit that it has to be you getting the mana. They literally just didn't have to throw that on there, but they did because this is now apparently a political tool you can use to be like, okay, we're all in big trouble, right? That other player over there is doing crazy things. Either of you have like a tutor. I could give you extra mana. You could then cast whatever wrath you need, to clear the board to like stop them from doing this. Yeah, you can make some deals with that because that's allowed with this card because it lets you do target player for some reason. You don't even have to sacrifice this again. You can keep using it throughout the game. Just being like, okay, yeah, I turn any of my treasures or clues or blood tokens or whatever into 3 mana. My goodness. I mean, 3 mana instead of 1 for the treasures, but still like for anything else, cool. I just sacrifice all those things and make an absurd amount of mana. And of course, there's certain decks out there that actually want to sacrifice artifacts. So yeah, artifact decks, treasure decks, clue decks, all the above. Go wide artifact creature decks. Yeah, they're going to want this card, and that's why it's super expensive. It is a game-ending play to get this down and just tap it, sacrifice a bunch of things for like 30 plus mana, and you're like, yeah, okay, I win. Have fun. 2nd place, $35. But in first place, almost ironically, it is the trophy from the set for the first place finish, I believe. I don't know. I didn't follow the lore all that much. Anyways, the Aetherspark, around $40 for this brand new card that is really, really new in what it does. It is 4 starting loyalty, and it's an equipment. It is a legendary artifact planeswalker equipment. And if you can't wrap your head around that, neither can I. 4 starting loyalty for a 4 cost, again, legendary artifact planeswalker equipment. Again, I literally can't wrap my head around it. As long as it's attached to a creature, it can't be attacked and has, whenever a creature deals combat damage during your turn, put that many loyalty counters on the Aetherspark. +1. Attach up to 1 to our creature control, put a counter on that creature. -5, draw 2 cards. -10, add 10 mana of any one color. Okay, so obviously, I mean, this could fit technically into like Planeswalker, Tribal, like Super Friends type builds. Yes, I guess, especially ones that have, you know, make creature tokens, or ones that have a bunch of Gideons in them, which can turn to creatures, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, more so this is like, hey, just attach it to a big creature, and all of a sudden, you're going to be getting an absurd amount of counters on that creature. And when you do get that many counters, loyalty counters, I should say, on this thing, when you do get that many counters, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess I could draw some cards, or I could add 10 mana. Yeah, this is one of those cards where it's like, oh, I swing once. Oh, yeah, probably win. Probably win. If you have the right deck with the right creatures. Again, if you got a commander itself that has, like, 10 plus power, my goodness. Like, Yargle Maltani. Yes, absolutely. Like, Gulta. Yes, absolutely. Just being able to do absolutely absurd things. And, of course, like, counters builds can consider it, too, because, like, attach it gets a counter. Cool. Proliferate builds as well. But most importantly, again, just, hey, getting a free 10 mana essentially just by getting this on something is really, really crazy. It is a unique card that, again, it's tough to evaluate, where it's like, okay, like, yeah, there's decks that want it, but, like, it's something that, like, your opponents can attack it. It is a Planeswalker, technically. If it's not attached, it is more vulnerable, obviously. Like, usually you can't attack equipment, but for some reason it's like, that trophy over there, get it, attack it. So yeah, it is a card that can do some really crazy things with not a lot of setup. Again, if you just have a commander that's got a lot of power, again, Gulta, Yargle Multani, etc., etc., it's like, okay, throw it on that, and again, just hit. Again, whatever creature deals combat damage during your turn. Not to a player, it does not specify that. So all you need to do is go swing, hit something. Again, creature, player, does not matter. Get a ton of counters on this, and all of a sudden, yeah, you get 10 extra free mana, and you're like, okay, second main phase. Drop my hand on the field. Yay, I win! Most likely, yeah, $40 for this, though. Tough to evaluate. Trophy, the Aetherspark, congratulations. You are expensive. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.